My mom and my dad were separated off and on. So it's interesting that this is a topic of family because in watching family dynamics growing up, what I try to create now is not what I had. And I share that because when you have, and a lot of people listening can relate to the struggles that we deal with maybe two people who are married but not connected, where they're staying together either for financial reasons or because just the stigma with divorce, and being a teenager and like not understanding that, but not feeling like love from what you're seeing can really like change your mindset and your thinking. And I start very personal there because that is who I am. I'm very honest about my experiences because it has shaped who I am, what I do. And so with seeing that division among my family, I had a tendency growing up of creating my version of what a perfect family would look like.
This is Dr. Rodney Duckett with the lively art of conversation, where we live, we learn, we earn, my goodness, and we pass it along. Tune in and listen to us every Sunday from 7:30 a.m. to 8:30 a.m. as we give you our story with the lively art of conversation. Hello, good Sunday morning. You know who this is. This is your community facilitator, Dr. Rodney Duckett with the lively art of conversation, back with you again with another exciting episode. And this episode is all about family, and we're going to talk about family. Family is one of the most important concepts sometimes that is hit and miss throughout our community. But the community is an extension of the family. But we're going to get into family, and we're going to talk about how family and how book authors all align in one element to create what we know as common unity within the community. So again, you're watching the lively art of conversation, where we live, we learn, we earn, my goodness, we pass it along. And this show would not be a show without my underwriters. My underwriters, thank you. My underwriters, you make this show possible. We're on episode 17, and my underwriters have been coming strong. And I got a couple in the bullpen ready to come out. All right. So underwriters, this is for you. Thank you for being a sponsor and the underwriter for this show.
This is Lavina Sabri with So Natural Catering and Bomb A Lemonade, and you're listening to The Lively Art of Conversation.
Hello. This is Rodney Duckett with the lively art of conversation. As we live, we learn, we earn, and we pass that wisdom along. Join us every Sunday from 7:30 a.m. to 8:30 a.m. as we bring to you our story. You bring your story, we give you our story, and our story is how we engage in our community. Everybody has a story, and we're waiting to hear your story. So if you're interested, reach out to us at livelyartofconversation@gmail.com.
Looking to elevate your brand or capture unforgettable moments? New Image Media offers top-tier videography, photography, personal branding, and more. They combine creativity and quality with fair pricing and friendly service so you get the results you want. Whether it's a business promo or special occasion, they bring your vision to life with quality you can trust. Choose New Image Media, where your image is everything. For more info, email media@newimagemiallc.com. Words have power. They connect, heal, and inspire. That's the mission at Better Watch Your Tone, LLC, founded by Toni B. Shelton. She's empowering through powerful poetry and prose, with hundreds impacted through speaking events, workshops, and 8 self-published books. Ready to honor the story within? Discover books and coaching at betterwatchyourtone.com. For event poetry or book writing support, email tonyshelton@gmail.com. Let's use our words to uplift. Better watch your tone. You've built a life worth celebrating. Now it's time to be seen. At Las Foto de Lance Photography, they don't just take portraits, they capture the fire in your spirit and the power in your presence. Whether you're reclaiming your confidence, owning your story, or stepping into a new chapter, Las Foto de Lance Photography creates luxury images that reflect the real you. Visit lasfotodelance.net or drop by their Harker Heights studio. Las Foto de Lance Photography, unapologetically you, immortalized.
Hello, this is Dr. Rodney Duckett with the Heritage Legacy Curators. You're looking for something for your kids to do this summer? Well, reach out to me at Impact Outreach, IMPAC Outreach at gmail.com, because Heritage Legacy Curators is all about collecting oral history. So if you have stories that you would love to pass down to your kids, or if you have a project that maybe your kids need to do as it relates to oral history, bring those family albums out and we'll sit there and we'll sort through those family albums. So that way we can collect those stories and keep those stories within the family. So that way they can be the next speakers to curate your family reunion. We're back with the lively art of conversation, where we live, we learn. My goodness, we pass it along. For you guys that don't know who I am, I'm Dr. Rodney Duckett, your community facilitator here, bringing you another phenomenal show with people in the community that I admire, respect, and just adore, like really adore. And this show right here is very special to me because the person that I'm bringing in embodies the word that I'm going to talk about today. Pull out your journals. This is a big one. The word is called family. That's right, family. Now, we hear that word tossed around, and it's sometimes tossed around loosely, but I want you to think about this by way of Confucius. That's right. On Sunday, I said Confucius. The strength of a nation derives from the integrity of the home. Isn't that crazy? What happens in our home indirectly connects with us as a people, as a nation. So that is a beautiful foundation and a role for us in the lively art of conversation, because society suggests that the strength of the ethical family that we have also contributes directly to the strong ethical nation that we want. So everything begins with family. What you teach in the home goes outside of the home. Here's your question. Now, I hope you got your journal ready. We got family, but I want you to really think, how can we strengthen family bonds in today's fast-paced world, and what impact will that have on our communities? Pretty much what I'm trying to say is, let's tighten some stuff up in our homes, because it's very important. No homes are perfect now. Trust me, no homes are perfect, but we know there's things that we have to do in our home so that way our home can manifest outside of who we are and what we do. I've been for the last, 22 plus years working with the youth within our community, and that has been it's been a pillar for me to work with the youth. But many times I try to send those youth back home, and sometimes families are corrupt. So let's all together look within our family, and let's try to fix some of the wrongdoings that we have within our family, which leads us to my guest today. My guest, by far, is a person that I probably met 6 or 7 years ago. And I met her by way of another friend that I'm trying to get on this show, Big Mike. And Big Mike said to me, he says, hey, you really need to meet this young lady. She's trying to do the things that you're doing in the community, and I think the hookup would be great. So I met with her, and I remember sitting at her at the genesis, the birth of what she was putting together. Not trying to do, but what she was putting together. And in that genesis, to be able to see that big boom, that big bang theory that happens today, to see how she has pretty much dominated the threshold within the community with the different events that she's been doing throughout the years, with the books that she has been writing, even before she came up with the actual idea she was writing books. She is a powerhouse, and it's kind of crazy because her job is very similar to my job. It really has nothing to do with what we do, but it has everything to do with what we do, because we still deal with people. Ladies and gentlemen, if you don't know the person that I'm about ready to say, I'm going to give you a hint. Remember, you matter. Ladies and gentlemen, in studio, I have Dr. Elizabeth Jennings with me.
Thank you.
Oh, man, she's being all humble over there, like, thank you. So I know, you're probably saying like I'm being over exaggerated, but I'm not being over exaggerated, because when your name is mentioned in rooms, it electrifies us and gives us a smile. And that is the one unique thing. When I mention the name Dr. Jennings, there's a smile on everybody's face, because everybody knows that Dr. Jennings is coming to make everybody's life better. But Dr. Jennings has a footprint. Now, Dr. Jennings wasn't Dr. Jennings back in Georgia. Tell us a little bit about your footprint and how the evolution of Dr. Jennings appeared before us.
Well, thank you. That's a loaded question. Let's see. Let's start with just the core of like what centered around me. I'll kind of start at a place in my family life. So I was born in Georgia. My mom and my dad were separated off and on. So it's interesting that this is a topic of family because in watching family dynamics growing up, what I try to create now is not what I had. And I share that because when you have, and a lot of people listening can relate to the struggles that we deal with maybe two people who are married but not connected. Where they're staying together either for financial reasons or because just the stigma with divorce, and being a teenager and like not understanding that, but not feeling like love from what you're seeing can really like change your mindset and your thinking. And I start very personal there because that is who I am. I'm very honest about my experiences because it has shaped who I am, what I do. And so with seeing that division among my family, I had a tendency growing up of creating my version of what a perfect family would look like. And so a lot of us struggle even now with like mental health struggles, emotional struggles. And part of mine of what I had to learn to go through is balancing that core between reality and what I was making up in my mind, in my head. And eventually, my life kind of started transforming when I started releasing unrealistic expectations of what that fantasy looked like versus what real life was. That allowed me to be okay when my parents got a divorce. That allowed me to be okay when my mom remarried, and to be able to accept my stepfather and this new life that was being created where she was finding happiness, she was finding love, she was finding someone that was taking care of her and not harming her emotionally. And so that is probably where a lot of my writings and programming and events have stemmed from, is learning to release the expectations of what we wish for. And really learning to accept and embracing what becomes in front of us and taking away the good, but learning from maybe what wasn't so good along the path. And instead of it being something that hardens us, how can we use that to make family life better in the future?
Yeah, and you know, the unique thing that you say is family and life, and you're a byproduct of the community which you come from. I feel I know your story because I have your books. I sleep with them under my pillow by way of osmosis. No, I'm just playing. But no, I have your books. But the community actually raised you. You told me of a time that you worked at Albertson. You received a full ride scholarship to be able to do the career that you're in now. Tell us a little bit about that.
Close. I worked at Kroger's.
Oh, I'm sorry. Forgive me.
But close, right? And actually, that was a job that my stepdad, when I was 14 years old, made the connection, and was able to get me in. Most people weren't working then, but I was able to start as a bagger, a courtesy clerk at Kroger, and I stayed with that job up to being 21 years old. I went from a bagger to customer service representative and manager there. And then, yes, along with the Hope Scholarship that Georgia had at that time, my Kroger also gave me tuition reimbursement, which was extra money on top of that. So it led me to have leadership skills. It learned some organizational skills. They were flexible at my job. It just really kind of helped to shape. And the people that I met there, I learned from that part where what may have lacked in my family, my employees, my coworkers, they became that extension of that. At church, the other church members became extension of my family. Like when my mom worked so much as a single mom of what she was doing, the church members would pick me up and take me with their family to outings and events. And so I really got a chance at that point to learn to kind of trust others and to open my arm and accept what the community was giving to me so that they can continue to plan in what was necessary for me to grow.
So I've said this before for myself, but there's other people that I've learned, there's many hands that molds the clay of Dr. Elizabeth Jennings. It's just not family, but there was that external community family that kind of supported and uplifted you along the way. Tell us a little bit about your occupation. You went to school and you got a degree in.
Yes. So initially, my whole life, I thought up to like my senior year that I wanted to be a lawyer. And I was so set on that. And my reason was because I didn't talk a lot, but the one thing that really like sparked something into me was when it came to like speaking up and defending people. And so, you know, up to that point, that's what I thought I wanted to do. And then my senior year, I went to a private school for most of my high school, and then my senior year, I had to transfer to a public school. Mm-hmm. So it was a big transition going from like 100 people in the whole school to like a public school, which has, you know, buku people. So the socialization shock, just the whole changing of rhythm and patterns, your senior year can be really challenging. But what I chose to do is just focus on like what was my next. And so I had some really great teachers. And at one point we had to do a research paper for our English class. And I did my research paper on law, and I was in tears because I was like, she was like, oh my gosh, you're going to make an amazing lawyer. We just love this paper. And I was like, oh my gosh, I don't want to do this anymore, because once you realize like how much years you spent in research and history, and that really wasn't my love, truthfully.
Yeah. Okay.
My love was like helping people and just in a different way getting to know people. I didn't want to spend so much time in school. I end up spending that much time, but that's not what I wanted initially, because I was going to be the first one who made it to college out of my family. So my history of what I was going for was just me learning and doing this on my own. Anyway, she told me about her husband, who was a physical therapist. I ended up doing some volunteer work with physical therapy. And it's like, I don't really like this. And then when I started researching, I saw occupational therapy at the bottom of it. And I did some research on that. And then I was told that most people, especially African-American, don't get in their first year because they only accept 50 people a year and less of a minority population. So I heard that, but I don't normally let things stop me. I think that was just probably the start of not letting what people say like stop me. I still applied and registered for the program that I wanted. I went in for the interview, and to my surprise, I was accepted. There was, out of our class of 50, we had 3 African-American students, and I was one of those African-American students for occupational therapy. And we were the last bachelor's program at that point, but completed it, loved it, and for 25 years, that is now what I have been doing as an occupational therapist.
Okay, so look at me. We're going to say I'm that ignorant person, because there's a lot of people out there, and ignorant's not a bad word. You know, ignorant might be a bad word, but not ignorant. So we're going to say I'm that ignorant person, and tell me what occupational therapy is.
Yeah, so occupational therapy is a very versatile career. The whole purpose of it is we work with both youth, adults, workforce population. The main goal is we help people get back to their level of function after some type of injury or disability, or something that has stopped them from doing the things that they love to do that's functional for them. And so you will see occupational therapists in the school district. You will see occupational therapists in outpatient clinics and hospitals after people have had surgeries and they no longer can do the things. They need equipment to help them to be independent.
Yes.
So we help with those things. I have specifically worked mostly with pediatrics in the school and outpatient setting, and then also community-based occupational therapy. And then I did a lot of work where my path to doctorate came in with veterans when I worked for about 3 years at the Traumatic Brain Injury Clinic with veterans who had post-traumatic stress disorder and traumatic brain injury.
Wow, that is amazing, and I appreciate you providing a service to those that provided a service to our country. And I guess in a sense, you are still a advocate for the people. Like, your job deals with advocacy for the people, correct?
Yes, yeah. And then even beyond that, you know, I consider myself to be a mental health advocate in our community. That is an area that I really fight for, advocate for. So I'm able to combine occupational therapy with the community-based work that I do, which I think makes it so unique in the programming and the books and how things are presented to our community.
So going through your books, which I have all of your books, by the way, you do a lot of introspection, a lot of internal work. with the people. It's not as necessarily the external stuff that we see, but actually like getting your house together on the inside. Can you explain?
Yeah. So, I always wanted to write, but it was one of those where I was stuck with the know-how, the getting started. Yes. And I think I have to just share this to share why that is necessary really quick. So everything for me starts from like personally what I've been through. And so in 2015, that was like a really rough hill for me. I went through a divorce after 17 years, lost my mom to stomach cancer, was in like 2 car accidents, really couldn't walk, had some legal situations. So it was really at my version of my rock bottom. And at that point, I realized that I couldn't keep going the path that I was going, meaning no one really knew under the cover what was going on. Just professionally, I was thriving in areas, but inside I was dying. And so it really was that period that I had to like halt and stop and really like focus on the work for myself. And so I took a whole year of just addressing me. And by learning to do that through a life coaching certification and doing the work within myself, there was this light bulb where it was like, this is what I want to do. I want to show people who have struggled with figuring out how to stop going in cycles to be able to really start moving forward. And then I heard a voice after that said that it was time. And so then I started writing at that point. And my first book was Overcoming Loss in relation to what had happened in 2015. And it all became a story that has built since then.
So I've heard plenty of veterans that say, especially when they go through specific programs, that rock bottom has been the greatest foundation to build character. So, and it sounds like the rock bottom that you hit was the genesis of what we know to be Dr. Elizabeth Jennings. So let's transition for a minute, because I have some guests here today, and they're your writing buddies. You want to tell me a little bit about your writing buddies? Because your whole family are authors. So tell me a little bit about that.
Yeah, so because this episode is centered around family, I have the honor of being here with my children. I have my son, Donte Jennings, who is 18-year-old, just graduated from high school, and then I have my daughter, 16-year-old, Deliya Jennings. And both my children have been a part of Remember You Matter from the start, and then we also have like launched into having a history of writing also. And same thing, there were some experiences that I went through with both my children when it came to either the death of my mom, the divorce, and also injuries medically for my daughter, and then mentally for my son. And our healing became through writing. And so that is why we all have kind of birthed that, to be able to give back to the community, to help those who may struggle with things that we personally went through too, and how we got on the other side of it.
Well, I do appreciate that. And hey, this is what I want to do, Dr. Elizabeth Jennings. I want to go to break at this particular time, and I want to bring in your children just so I can probe them a little bit and find out about Dr. Elizabeth Jennings' dirty little secrets. How does that sound?
It'll be interesting.
It'll be interesting. And before I go to break, one thing I would like to say to you, and I do say this to every single mother that I encounter, thank you. Because without your insight and without your proverbial foot up the behind of a young black man, he graduated. And that means a lot, because right now, black men is like in this voyage of extinction, because they're just not progressing. But you have, I guess, cracked the Rubik's Cube of being a single mother and also getting a young man inspired to graduate. So I just like to give you your hats off before we transition.
Thank you.
This is Dr. Rodney Duckett. You're watching The Lively Art of Conversation, where we live, we learn, we earn. My goodness, we pass it along. We'll be right back after these commercials.
Words have power. They connect, heal, and inspire. That's the mission at Better Watch Your Tone, LLC, founded by Toni B. Shelton. She's empowering through powerful poetry and prose, with hundreds impacted through speaking events, workshops, and 8 self-published books. Ready to honor the story within? Discover books and coaching at betterwatchyourtone.com. For event poetry or book writing support, email ToniShelton@gmail.com. Let's use our words to uplift. Better watch your tone. You've built a life worth celebrating. Now it's time to be seen. At Las Foto de Lance Photography, they don't just take portraits, they capture the fire in your spirit and the power in your presence. Whether you're reclaiming your confidence, owning your story, or stepping into a new chapter, Las Foto de Lance Photography creates luxury images that reflect the real you. Visit lasfotodelance.net or drop by their Harker Heights studio. Las Foto de Lance Photography, unapologetically you, immortalized. Looking to elevate your brand or capture unforgettable moments? New Image Media offers top-tier videography, photography, personal branding, and more. They combine creativity and quality with fair pricing and friendly service so you get the results you want. Whether it's a business promo or special occasion, they bring your vision to life with quality you can trust. Choose New Image Media, where your image is everything. For more info, email media@newimagemediallc.com.
This is Dr. Rodney Duckett with the Heritage Legacy Curators. You're looking for something for your kids to do this summer? Well, reach out to me at Impact Outreach, IMPAC outreach @gmail.com, because Heritage Legacy Curators is all about collecting oral history. So if you have stories that you would love to pass down to your kids, or if you have a project that maybe your kids need to do as it relates to oral history, bring those family albums out and we'll sit there and we'll sort through those family albums, so that way we can collect those stories and keep those stories within the family, so that way they can be the next speakers to curate your family reunion. Hey, this is Dr. Rodney Duckett, and you're back with the lively art of conversation, where we live, we learn, my goodness, we pass it along. Hey, check this out. If you really have an event, if there's something that you're trying to do, reach out to me at livelyartofconversation@gmail.com. Let's get a commercial in for you. You can be a guest on the show. There's plenty of ways that you can help out. If you want to be an underwriter and you really like this show, hey, we need your help. You know, this show is for the people. It's not necessarily Dr. Rodney Duckett's show, but it's everybody's show. And we are back. And like I said, we have Dr. Elizabeth Jennings and family with us here today. And I would like the family to introduce themselves.
My name is Mr. Donte Jennings.
And my name is Deliya Jennings.
All right. And these are the beautiful, beautiful kids of Dr. Elizabeth Jennings. So we're talking about family. What does that word mean to you guys, family?
I say family to me. Family means like something that like comes together. And, you know, like a tribe. So that's what family is to me. Family is resilience. Family is patience. And family is just like overall kindness and trying to see the development of everybody else.
To me, family is like a home. It's a place that you're supposed to trust and love each other and accept each other in every way, shape, or form.
Wow. I appreciate that, because those words really hit home. A tribe and home, and everybody can build a house, but a home is where a family dwells, and that means a lot to me. That y'all guys are so freaking mature. How y'all guys become so mature? I've like watched the evolution of you guys grow. You know, Dante's like a giant over me, and I sad to say, but Delia's taller than me now, so I was like, I don't know what's going on. I'm going in reverse these days, guys. You know, but anyhow, tell me about you guys' journeys of being authors.
I'll say for me, journey of being an author. So the first book I ever wrote was like when I was like, I was young. I was like 8 years old when I made my first book, and it was called Buster, the Tech Anxiety Crusher. And basically what the book was about was a kid, and it was a female, and basically she had testing anxiety. So what she had to do was we gave her coping strategies, and we gave her ways that she could do the test. So that was like my first book that I ever created. And so whenever I made that book, I was young and I was doing vendors, and I would give that book, and it would like work on my confidence, to work on my speaking, and like having that experience always at a young age, it kind of like helped me a lot.
Same for me. That book was also the first one that we wrote together. Then later on, after I had a few things happen with my knee, and it kind of set me back, me and my mom got closer over the time of me being recovered and all this other stuff. So we wrote a book about women to girls, which is just basically ways that helped us grow closer and accept and love each other more.
That's amazing. And you guys talked a little bit about your mom talked about your setbacks, and you also mentioned your setbacks. You know, you had a physical thing that enabled you for almost 2 years practically. And I give you your hats off. I mean, you rebound. You like a warrioress with the wrists at the end of it. Like, you really came back and you're doing your thing. So big ups to you, because I seen you like struggling with those crutches, and now I've seen you like literally chasing Donte around. So like, it's like amazing the growth that came from that. And then Donte, I met you by way of what you encountered. Do you want to tell the audience a little bit about your story before we jump to your sister?
Yes, sir. I'll say a little bit about my story. Was I had a severe mental health crisis back in 2021, and what happened was like I had to go through like 2 hospitalizations. So like I had to go through a lot, and I had to like relearn everything that I was building myself to become, because I already had the offer path that was going through me, but like I was kind of like falling back, and then that's when I originated the book Don't Quit. So like after I made the book Don't Quit, it not only became a book, but it also became me as a person. You know, I became more steadfast, and I became more resilient, and I became ready to take any obstacle because of that book. So that's why I made the book Don't Quit, because that was the story that means. And that's what Donte really means. Donte just means steadfast and resilient. So yes, sir, that's why I made it.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. And to see your journey to be where you are now is beyond amazing. It is that of a miracle work, because you had so many human elements that was there, but you had so many entities that were unseen that was there for you as well too. So I truly respect you and admire you, and just to see the man that you have become now means a lot to me. It really does. So Miss Deliya, let's talk about you. Like, you went from playing soccer to being wrapped up to now doing wrestling and body slamming your brother all over the place. Let's talk about that.
What do you mean?
Well, I mean, when I last seen you in soccer, I think you tore your what did you tear?
It was my ACL and my MCL, I think.
Okay.
Yeah, just now. Now I've just kind of been doing a lot. I do CrossFit. I'm about to get back into running really soon. Obviously, like you said, I've been doing wrestling, and just overall, it's been great.
So how was that journey? Because I know that recovery had to be brutal.
It was hard. I'll be honest. Like, there was a lot of times that I was kind of like just in my bed, not really be able to do anything. Like, I don't know. It really did at times feel like really lonely. But luckily, I had like people, and I had friends. I had people come over and hang out with me, and like just be there for me, and just let me know that like it's not the end, and life can still go on regardless.
Well, and listen, you're leaving out 2 important entities that were there for you. It's some phenine type things. What other entities that was there?
Like, I had physical therapy. I had my mom. I had my friends. I had myself. I had my family. I had my brother. Just a lot of people that were there for me.
So should I meow? What was else there for you? You picked up 2 friends. Cats.
Oh. Yeah. That was also another thing that I really wanted, because I kind of felt really lonely, and my dogs are kind of big and rough, and they like to jump around and be crazy. So I wasn't really allowed to have them in my room as much. So I like begged my mom to get me 2 cats. Their names are they're like from an anime show. One was Black Star, the other one's Death the Kid. Yeah, I love them too. They're really nice. They're great.
Yeah. So, pets have a tendency, to help you during some times, because they know when you're injured. So they have a way of filling some of those emotional gaps and voids. So, Donte, you're graduated. I seen you walk that stage, man. And like I said, man, I had to hold back the tears. It's okay for men to cry, but for this day, I want to hold back tears because I didn't want everybody to see me cry like a baby. But what is the journey for Donte?
Oh, the journey? What do you mean, like continuously, or like
your career path, and where is Donte going?
So like where Dante's trying to go is he's trying to get into psychology. I'm also trying to like minor a little bit in political science.
Okay.
But not only that, but I'm just trying to like I'm just trying to build a place for myself. I'm trying to build my knowledge. I'm trying to learn new things and learn new possibilities and look for new opportunities as well. So that's what I want to do.
Awesome. What about Deliya? I mean, you're not there at graduation, but, in a few more years, you'll be at graduation. What does Deliya have in store for her?
I'm still kind of looking right now, but what I'm thinking about right now is mainly forensic stuff.
Okay.
That's mainly what I'm interested in at the moment.
So, any more books on the horizon for you guys?
I got a book that's coming soon. It's going to be called Moving Forward. And basically, it's like a continued story of don't quit because, I was just in a steadfast and resilient, but now we're trying to build something we're trying to move past the old Donte and trying to evolve into the new Donte.
And for me, I mainly focused on the book that me and my mom created. We're doing a few events for it and all this other stuff.
So both of you guys, tell me, for any young person that's out there that might be listening to this on their way to church, give them some words of wisdom. Anything that's on your heart.
I'll say just be optimistic. Always try to look for the new things in life. Continuously learn and always try to build something and try to find your passion. And then after that, everything else just come to you.
For me, it'll probably be that no matter what setbacks and what happens, don't give up. Even when you regress or you fall down, to fall down, that means you were up at some point in time, and you can always get back to it no matter what.
Well, you definitely are Dr. Jennings' kids, for sure. A lot of wisdom in that. And remember, we're talking about family. And remember what I said about family? That ethical role that happens in the house manifests itself outside of the home. And these two guys here, these young man and young woman, when they're outside of the home, they represent their home well, and they represent our community well. I'd like to thank you guys for all that you have done in the community. I'm so proud of you guys with the journey ahead. And if I can give you guys anything in the world, I would just say keep going. Keep writing those books. Keep living your dreams, and your dreams will manifest in the reality to shape the world. So thank you for being a part of the show.
You're welcome.
All right. And this is Dr. Rodney Duckett. You're watching the Lively Art of Conversation, where we live, we learn, we earn, we pass along. And we'll be right back with Dr. Elizabeth Jennings. And we're back with the Lively Art of Conversation. Thank you, Donte and Deliya, for coming on to the show. You guys have a bright future ahead of you. Dr. Jennings, you raised some very, very wonderful children. And I've had the privilege of spending time with them, and to watch them grow and evolve to be who they are today is a testament of you as a mom.
Thank you.
For anything, you should always be happy to give yourself a pat on the back, because they're going to go out and they're going to represent the Jennings brand well. So
Thank you.
Yeah. So there's a lot that goes on with Dr. Elizabeth Jennings. We know she's an author. We know she's an OT, but Dr. Jennings also does community-driven events that kind of correlates with her books. So tell us about some upcoming events that you may be having in the near future that we need to be on the horizon for, maybe the end of October going into November, or anything that you have coming up for the new year of 2026.
So thank you. Continuously loving to write. At this point, I have self-published some with my children, a total of 14 books, and I'm working on 3 currently that centers around exactly what we're talking about, really addressing parents and family, teaching parents how to tap into their youth. Untapped potential is one. I'm also doing a book. I do a lot of work with my nonprofit with men. And so I'm writing a book dedicated to men that is called The Heart of a Man. And really it is our love letters to a man of appreciation for the work that they do to support just us as a community also. And then the other one that I'm kind of working on is Rest, Reset, and Live Well, helping people to manage burnout and fatigue and be able to kind of reset and still live the life that they were called and created to.
I'm going to go back to something that your daughter said and also Donte said about setbacks. And I think this is very important. How did you navigate those major setbacks for your family? Because there were some things that like probably would bring a normal person to the break, but you were able to manage and see the other side as a visionary, which most people can't see when they're drowning.
Yeah. So the core of my writing is my faith. And if I were to say what sustained me, what helped me to be persistent, resilient, and to keep going, despite the challenges with my daughter and my son medically and mentally, it was trusting that God had a purpose for my life and that the good was coming out of this. And so a lot of times when we're going through trials and rough times, we just see what's in front of us. And it's really hard to like see that whole picture, get that message along the journey. Like we always say, you have to go through a test to get the testimony. Yes. Well, God kind of taught me that during the test is when the testimony is birthing and you can get it then. So that's how I learned to like, okay, what in the midst of the dark, deep, rough stuff am I supposed to be getting along the way? So I would get these mini messages and jot those down. And those are what became like the book, the programs, the resources, so that I can get even deeper than some who kind of wait to the end of that journey to figure out that one, main thing. God has planted multiple seeds of light and revelation. And by listening, being obedient, and responding quickly during the trials, that's what has kind of helped me to kind of keep going.
So I'm going to play a little bit of devil's advocate here because, and I think I said the same thing to Erica Price, Aya Nelly, Hatis, and Lavina Sabri. That other person that's on the end that's saying, man, I'm not built like Dr. Jennings. I can't do that. I'm drowning right now. What are your words to them that they say, you're a very strong woman, you're a very resilient woman, but what are your words to them so they can see that there's sunshine after the storm?
Yeah. One of the biggest things that I had to learn, and before I could help anybody else, because a lot of us want to serve, but we truly like ignore what's going on with us. I had to like get that mirror and really look at that mirror. And even though I didn't like all the things that I see, I had to like recognize what was there. Okay. And for me, there was a sense of hurt and pride where I really didn't want to let people into my life or my bubble. I wanted to do it all by myself. And a lot of times when we're struggling, we try to struggle or feel like we're isolated and we're by ourselves. But truth be told, there are people out there that are willing to help, that are willing to like help us carry that load when we are low. And that was probably the most pivotal thing that I did, was being willing to swallow my pride and ask for the right help to help me along the journey so that I could like let some of that weight off of myself and truly like heal and deal with what was going on and not try to carry it by myself. And so that is what I would try to tell someone else. It may not be your family. It may not be the people immediately that you think should help. But if you have a willingness to seek out support, whether it's professionally, whether it is spiritually, just finding where that safe place is and asking for help, then you'll be surprised who's willing to kind of pour into you and support you. And that becomes the light that helps you to let you feel that you're not alone and that you're not doing this by yourself. You're not the only one going through this. And so that's probably what I would share as a word of encouragement.
Let's shift for a little bit. Let's talk about Dr. Elizabeth Jennings 6 to 7 years ago at her old location, sitting at the table, and we're Lego setting Boys Matter to Men. Tell me about that. Tell me about that journey.
Yeah. So, nothing's by accident. And actually, for me, I was inspired by the IT Girls program. I attended that with my daughter, and I saw that, and I realized, this is amazing, where they were pouring into our girls. But as a mom of a young man, I was like, what do they have for our boys that's similar to that? So I did research, really didn't see, and then I had a dream about creating something for our boys that focus on well-being and wellness and helping so that we don't lose our boys, especially with single moms or those who need support. And so when that idea came, I was like, all right, what do I do with this? Like, I already carry so much. Like, why am I being called to do this? So it wasn't something like I welcomed. I fought it. Usually when something's bigger than us, we kind of have a little bit of resistance to it. But I chose to pray and really felt that this was something that I was called to do. So I reached out to my community, you being someone in particular who already does some work with our young men in the community. I reached out and I shared this dream that I had written down and what this looked like. And I just wanted in that moment, I needed validation that, this wasn't something that was far-fetched. And you were very honest with me, gave me the pros and the cons. And through that conversation of us sitting at my table, actually have a meeting and bring it out, I think through your honesty, I felt like what I heard you say at the very end is, you can do it, because I can tell that you believe in this. Mm-hmm. And through that, we kind of I was able to reach out to a few other men who supported the vision that I'd done work with through the military. Mm-hmm. And they sat with me for a whole year, and we were able to produce Boys Matter to Men, which is now a nonprofit organization that supports our young boys ages 8 to 18. It supports families, just working on pouring into them so that we are recreating that community village.
Mm. Now, Boys Matter to Men is not the only organization that you created, and a lot of this was birthed by writing and thinking and conversation. What are the other organizations that you have developed?
Yeah. So through Remember You Matter also, I am a certified life coach, grief coach, executive coach, and organizational development coach that works with teams. And so through that, I do I Matter Too, which is an organization that supports single women. There also is Women Who Connect, with is an organization that pours into professional women, helping them to find balance between their personal and professional life, to kind of making sure they're still taking care of themselves. And one of the latest things that I've kind of branched into that has allowed me to propel my books and programming is I am now a Pilates instructor at the Pilates bar downtown Killeen. And I do classes and pop-up events that actually centered around faith-based and also mental wellness and well-being. And so one of the recent Pilates class that I did unique was a pray, praise, and activate your faith. One of my books is Supersize Your Faith and Minimize Your Doubt. So I was able to combine the class with Pilates, a hot Pilates class, and the book. And we actually had an event pouring into people in our community who came out this past Saturday. And then I'm also doing a men care. The month of June is about men and their health. And so this one is going to focus on pouring into our men. And also there's a book called Break Free and Take Back Your Power. I learned a lot of men are silenced through life. And so giving them the ability to express when they are needing support and when they need their cup filled in is something also too. And then I'll be doing some things for fathers and daughters and mothers and daughters with Pilates so that we're learning holistic wellness in the process.
So let's do this. What is Pilates for people that don't know what that is?
Yeah. So Pilates is a physical outlet that focuses on strength. It works on core. It was actually started by a man. Most people don't know that because there's stereotypes when it comes to doing it. But there was a gentleman who was working on, and his name is Joseph, and he was working on the rehabilitation of those who were injured. And so Pilates were structured movements that were used to be able to heal back injuries, neck injuries, to work on pain. And so Pilates is a strengthening, core building, but it also can work on if you're having back, it's a low impact workout, but it also focuses on very strong core strengthening. And particularly at the studio that we're at, we add a little bit of component of variety of music and flow to it so that it has it's structured to meet the needs of the class so that everyone is enjoying, and that it's for all bodies, where it can be adapted to be able to work on a great fitness. You're also working on mind-body connection. So it does a lot of if you have injury prone, it can work on injuries while you're still able to work out. I happen to have injured my wrist and my shoulder, and when I would go to the gym, I had to stop. But Pilates has allowed me to still be able to work out, get stronger, and it's low impact on my joints, and I can still kind of function. I'm seeing the great results mentally, physically, and emotionally all together with that.
So if someone's interested in this journey with Pilates for better mental and physical and spiritual health, how do they get started? How do they connect with you?
Yeah, so the Pilates Bar, that's spelled Barre. That's our Facebook. That is our website location. You can just connect with us on Instagram or Facebook. And we have about 6 different instructors. So you have a variety of styles. We have beginner classes, intermediate, and advanced. And we start at some classes 5 a.m., midday, and evening, 7 days a week.
So everything that you've done, you come from humble beginnings to be an extraordinary woman. So what have you earned along the way? What is the thing that you have earned yourself to make you this extraordinary woman?
Humility.
Humility. Wow. Please elaborate.
Yeah. So, I can go into any room and I can relate to people. Most people will hear after the fact what Dr. Jennings has done, but they will first see me as a person enter in that room. And so the ability to understand that life has allowed me to value what being a humble person looks like, meaning I don't have to lead with a title. I don't have to lead with accolades. I can lead with me as a human being instead of a human doing. And so that to me is the most valuable thing that I teach every single person that I come in contact with.
Man, that's a sound bite. Lead as a human doing, not a human being. Wow.
A human being, not a human doing.
Okay,
it's
yeah.
not what we do, it's who we are.
Woo, man, sound bite. Yeah, I might have to make sure we pop that one up when you talk for real. So as we begin to close, we said a lot here on the station. I know you're a woman of virtue, and there's so much that you have put out in our community. But can you tell me, what's the one thing you would like to pass along to the audience that's listening right now?
Yeah, it's the fact that you matter.
Okay.
Like that every single person has a purpose and a gift that adds value to this world. And so if they can remember that and if they can tap into that, then it's never too late to share that gift, to find that gift, to use that gift, and it's needed. Like someone is out there waiting for what you have, so don't give up on it. Don't disbelieve it. That would probably be the biggest nugget that I could give to someone, that their life has value and it truly matters.
You matter. And give us a flashpoint on you matter. Where'd you get that from?
So my mother, who was my hero, when she was alive, she used to always tell me to remember that I mattered. When she was alive, I didn't really understand what that meant. And it wasn't until she passed on where her words started registering for me. And that is what allowed me to get out of the grave, to stand back up, because I remembered that my mom told me that I matter. And so from that point on, I'll never let another person make me feel like I didn't, make me feel that my voice wasn't meant to be heard. And so that has been where it came from and why it resonates and why I try to pass it on to the next generation.
Ladies and gentlemen, you heard it. Like I said, humble beginnings, extraordinary woman. She leads without titles. She shows up in the room. She brings her energy with her wherever she goes. She has so many different things that's out in this community that you can connect with, and whatever it is you decide to connect with. Boys matter to men. Remember, you matter. If it's just her being a coach or going to Pilates, there is one thing guaranteed: you will not be the same person you was walking in that door when you walk out, because she is that extraordinary. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Dr. Rodney Duckett, and I have the beautiful and humble but extraordinary woman right beside me, known as Dr. Elizabeth Jennings, right here on the Lively Art of Conversation. And I would like to say this: for you guys that are out there that's just a little bit on the cusp and not know which way to go, this is the way to go. So, Dr. Jennings, can you give them the handles so they know which way to go? How do they get in contact with you?
Yes, on Instagram, it's Remember You Matter Coaching. You can connect with me there. On Facebook, if you search Elizabeth Carter Jennings, and then my website is www.rememberyoumattercoaching.com, and that will connect you to everything else that I'm connected to.
You heard it right here. The word of the week is family. And we are here with a woman that loves family more than anything else, Dr. Elizabeth Jennings. This is Dr. Rodney Duckett with the Lively Art of Conversation, where we live, we learn, my goodness, we pass it along, and we have had a phenomenal show. Join us next week as I bring in, I don't know, my little caterpillar that became a butterfly, Ms. Jordan O'Ryan. She will be right here in studio. For you guys that know me, you know who Jordan is to me in my life. So see you guys next week on the Lively Art of Conversation.